Hello and welcome to another episode of Celebrating Small Family Businesses.
It is?
Yes.
Wow.
Where we celebrate passion in action. And today we are celebrating Hank and Sharyn Yuloff of Yuloff Creative Marketing Solutions. Good morning. How are you?
Howdy. Wow.
It is.
Your voice changes from not on the podcast to on the podcast. You're using your FM radio voice.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know I was doing that.
That's fun.
That's great.
I will. It's okay. I'll use my FM radio voice too.
I might only do that for the introduction. I don't know. We'll see.
Y'all, you have to interview that. You have to talk to them when they're not on podcast. It's fun.
There we go.
Oh.
It's gonna be one of those podcasts.
It's going to
Yes,
be
it
one of
is.
those podcasts. We're
We
going to have
love
fun,
those.
and that's the kind we like. Yes. Somebody stuck. So we were at a gathering. Since you're mentioning that, so we were at a gathering last night, and like a Christmas party, and somebody stuck a microphone in my hand, and said, to introduce yourself to the group of what you do. It's a networking group where we have multiple groups, and I lead one, and I just started talking, and I don't know, 50 to 100 people, and usually my history has been speaking in front of a group is I'm not comfortable, and
I mean, he's behind everybody.
and I was just like totally myself and messing around, and I realized afterwards, oh my God, what a change. So I didn't lose my FM.
We have a client that she's been a client for several years, and when we started, we were in a networking group together, and when it was her turn to stand and do her elevator speech, it sort of became a thing within our group. We're just going to let her go as long as she needs to get her story out, because she was very shy, and it took her a while, and she might read it, which is okay, but the eyes were always down. Now she regularly wins the Speaker of the Week. It's
Wow.
like
That's been true for this year. I think last year as well.
yeah.
So
It's like
she's come a long way in a few years.
it's practice.
Yeah.
It truly is practice.
Well,
Go back
and
and watch
you
your
made it
first
safe
podcast and let me
too.
know how you like it.
You really made it safe. You said we're going to let her go, and as long as she needs to get it.
Yeah.
And then,
She didn't know that.
uh-huh.
It was just kind of a let her go.
Oh, that's special. I love it.
Don't add the pressure of time on her.
No.
Like she's already
No.
got enough pressure with I gotta say
Exactly.
this thing.
Right.
All of
The
you.
internal pressure.
What was that? Test anxiety.
Yes,
Oh gosh.
Remember those?
for sure.
So you guys are business coaches. I know this because we've talked. But it's also Yuloff Creative Marketing Solutions. So I want to get that, like where your origin story, but also what it is you guys focus on with your clients. So take that however you want. Start either one.
Go for
Okay,
it.
if I do the origin, you have to do what we do. Okay. Going back almost 30 years now, to a Thanksgiving. My family was one of those that went around the table, what are you thankful for? And I was working as one of 14 regional sales managers for a national company. We had just had our regional sales managers meeting in Minnesota, and here's what had happened. The week before, our national sales manager quit. So the 14 of us are in a room waiting for the owner of the company to walk in, knowing that this was going to be part of the conversation. And about half of us kind of in a straw poll were going to go for it, that job, because we figured who else, you promote from within. He walked in. His son, who had joined the company a couple months ago and was in the accounting department, walked in with him. The door was still open, and he said, I want to introduce you to your new national sales manager. And we all looked at the door, and no one walked in, and we realized, yeah, your mouth is open. That's exactly the look.
Yeah.
So our new national sales manager has no sales experience, and he's an accountant. Oh, this is going to be fun. So I got to share this story with my mom. And she said, well, what would it take for you to just start your own, company and do the same thing? And sarcastically, I know it's hard to imagine me being sarcastic. I said, well, I need a new fax machine because the one I have belongs to the company. And she
You
looked
don't
at
have youngsters that we need to explain what a fax machine
a
is,
fax
right?
machine.
Who
For those
knows?
of you that are new, a fax machine used to be the magic way we took a piece of paper from here and handed it to someone else. And she looked at my dad and said, "Write him a check." And that was her way of saying, it's time. Just start. And 2 weeks later, company was started. I didn't lose any clients. In fact, most of them said it's about time you started your own company. How can I best help you? And my question to them was, wow, you never said that before, that sort of thing for business help. They said, you weren't ready, and now you are. Let's go. Like that, one after another. That was the story. And
Wow.
moving ahead a bunch of years, I stole my wife from the entertainment industry. Yes, that's the story. And we've never looked back and had a much better life.
For sure.
Because we no longer have the "how was your day, dear?" conversation. And we can really just kind of tell our desks are not, we don't face each other, we're at perpendicular. And we can tell how the other one's day is going by the number of curse words we hear, and that's okay. So that's our origin is, my mom. Blame my mother.
There you
We'll
go.
blame your mother. What was the business, the nature of the business that you were working for as a regional sales manager?
We put logos on stuff.
Okay. So is it marketing?
Promotional products. Yeah.
Part of marketing.
We still have that company. We just don't promote it because, and this will probably resonate with a lot of listeners. If your business changes, by bringing up something else, if you try and have 2, 3, 4 businesses, this especially happens in network marketing, you lose your focus. We're business coaches. We're small business coaches.
Well, not only do we lose our focus, but it mixes the message for the audience.
Absolutely.
Right? So
Yeah.
do you sell promotional products? Do you sell whatever, pick your MLM, or do you do business coaching? Right now I'm confused, and a confused mind doesn't buy. So we stick to our lane. Our lane is business coaching. And yes, if you happen to know us and you have a need and you mention it, well, we can certainly help you with promotional products. And our clients get the benefit of that because we do give them a discount since that's not our primary business focus.
Yeah.
So when you had all these clients that were buying promotional products from you, and when you went on your own, you were going to shift to business coaching. Is that right?
No, he shifted first to just being a distributor, being a distributor for promotional products. The morphing to business coaching, it was always part of the vision. Actually, the vision was marketing coaching because his background's in marketing.
Okay.
We didn't shift to business coaching until I joined about 13 years ago because my background in business is office and HR management. So what that means to our clients is we help them with marketing and sales, Hank, as well as HR and office management. Now, when he floated that I join him in coaching and make more of a business coaching, I described it kind of like I described it to you, right? There's this, it sounds like there's this really clear division, right? He's marketing and sales, and I'm HR and office management. But that's because I thought he's the marketing guy. I'm the HR person. I don't know anything about marketing. But as part of the conversation and just the evolution of the business, I was able to overhear his conversations and the way he would talk to clients. And I realized, wait, those are the same conversations I have in my HR office. So because I was working for small business, it was all small business. I never worked for a company that was larger than 60 employees. In fact, when I started there, it was 10, and then it morphed to 60, and then it shrunk again to below 50. So it was all small business. What we learned from that is that HR for small business is just internal marketing. I mean, unless you're putting an ad out, right, because you're hiring, okay, now it's external marketing. But otherwise, it's internal, right? It's the employee comes to HR and says, I have this idea, but my manager won't listen to me. Okay, well, so how do we message it so that the hiring manager hears you, right? Or the owner comes to HR and says, I want to do this new initiative, but I want employee buy-in. Okay, well, how do we message it so the employees, it's all marketing.
That's true.
That's like
really
negotiation skills in a 5-year-old, right?
She doesn't really need me.
I just learned.
That's wonderful. So 2 things I want to make. make sure we bring out. One was going back to Hank's story about the son coming in. So there's family dynamics even in a big company.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You had this nepotism happening in a corporate
Yeah.
setting, which is, that's a common thing in small family businesses, but it's also everywhere.
Growing up, I worked at one of my summer jobs. I worked for a company in Los Angeles that was a ticket reseller. We'd buy them for face and charge you $100 more. And there were three of us that weren't family. There was a father, father, son-in-law, daughter, mother. So those four plus another brother. Those 5 family members. And the business physical setting was not that big, 300 square feet, something like that. So if all 5 family members were there, the 3 of us who weren't just kind of went to the front, dealt with the phones because we knew there was going to be some sort of explosion every time. If all 5 were in the room, it was just, oh, here it comes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, the national company, was
Yeah.
it more than 500 employees?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing I heard there, I wanted to make sure that you're talking about HR and where I think there's a difference is I had the experience of working in a major, like a Fortune 500 company HR department. And my perception is that in a big corporation, the purpose of HR isn't so much to develop and help the employees like you were describing. It's more to protect the company.
Absolutely. I would concur with the company that I worked for.
In my experience, again, it was small business, right? So in my experience, it was a balance. And I was blessed that every place I worked felt that way until the last one, before I joined Hank, the last one. They didn't see it that way, but every other one, they saw it that way, that it's a balance. Yes, we want the humans, right? HR, human relations, right? So human resources, right? It's humans. So the humans that we hire, we want to make it better for them, but we also want to make the business better. And how do we make them better and in order to make the business better? And that was always the vision. So yes, I did have to walk a tightrope. But
She was really good
but
at
it
that.
wasn't
12 feet up in the air.
it wasn't that hard because I only worked for owners that saw it that way.
Yeah. Saying,
that's
yeah,
wonderful.
the big businesses that we've worked with, no, it was always CYA, and it wasn't mine that they were covering.
Well,
Of course.
I was really shocked the first time. So I came from a small business background, little family business. It was 3 of us, and I'm in this corporate environment, and then all of a sudden I hear people talking about FTEs. What's an FTE? I whisper to somebody, full-time employee. And then, we need 3.5 FTEs for this. And then there was another, instead of people, it was resources. It's much easier to get rid of resources than it is to fire people, right? So there's this whole language mindset that, and so I saw HR, there was a lot of ASAP. Anyway, but HR, it serves an incredibly important function. And I know you guys wrote a book even about like how to do HR in a small business. Look at there.
All right.
Awesome.
Yeah, we've written 8, and I'll tell you, this is one that's like 95% Sharyn, because as a regional sales manager, my solution if the employee, it's not working out. You're probably not really happy here, are you? And that got rid of most of them, and I could find others.
That's great.
And their numbers pretty much documented the fact that they couldn't sell. Look, you could walk down a busy street
In any town.
in any town and walk into any store and say, you wouldn't want to buy some pens with your name on them, would you? And my theory is that every week somebody would say, well, yeah, I might. And I'd have some reps that wouldn't have sales for a couple of weeks. It's like, it's not that. It's
What are you
not
doing?
brain surgery. We're polluting the world one T-shirt, calendar, and coffee mug at a time. It's not difficult. People like this stuff.
Heck, they run 5Ks to get a free T-shirt. Seriously?
I know.
Yes.
I mean, we walked a 5K once and we came in last, but we still got the T-shirt.
And we stopped for Starbucks along the way.
Yes,
See?
we did. It was a
It's always
Disneyland.
that reward.
Was there an ice cream shop on the route?
It was a Disney. It was a Disney's Great Adventure. So yeah, there were.
But it was early. It was pre-park opening. We were lucky there was a coffee shop open.
So
You don't
tell
expect me
me.
to walk 5K without coffee, do you?
No. God, no.
Not in the morning.
Nuh-uh.
Oh, no.
So what have you learned about each other that you didn't know before you started this process?
Huh.
You know, we were pretty good at it before. But I'll tell you, watching Sharyn work with clients, I just get more impressed all the time. It confirms that I married way up. She's excellent with people and seeing other sides of things. I'm just more in awe that I get to work with my best friend every day. That's the coolest thing.
It is the coolest thing. I agree. That is the coolest thing. But I don't know that I've learned anything that I didn't already know. I think it's just cemented,
Wow.
right? The marketing brain is always going. And I knew that before, and now it just made it more obvious because now we see it more often, right? I wasn't going to work and then coming home and seeing it later, right? I get to see it all day, every day, 24/7, 365, unless we happen to be able to sleep that night. So I don't know that it's anything new. I think it's an amplification of things I already knew and reinforced, and it's pretty cool to watch.
It is,
I don't
isn't
have
it?
that brain, so it's pretty cool to watch.
And it's always fun to watch them grow in an area that you may have thought, are they ever going to grow in that area?
Look, if
that
you
about me?
really want that, Sharyn as a public speaker has been this blossoming. One of my favorite stories. We do a small business breakthrough boot camp a couple of times a year, and every 2 or 3 years we will have it videoed because the content changes a lot, and we want the most up-to-date info in our vault for our coaching clients to refer to. And when we do a boot camp, most of the time I'm center stage. Sharyn is off to the side, sitting with a microphone in case she wants to add something.
That's how it was. It's not how it is now, but it is how it was. Please don't put me on stage.
And we were teaching a section on social media, and Sharyn was off to the side and contributing a lot. I said, you know what, babe, we're recording this. Why don't you just come up here and talk from here? And as she came up, I left. And I left her up there for a half an hour, and
I could have killed him.
it was we had several clients there, and me and the clients are sitting off to the side just having a great old time because we know how uncomfortable this is for her. But she held the room. She taught wonderfully. I mean, her first job was being a teacher, so it was just a matter of nudging her gently. And now it's sometimes, she's the first one up there, so it's great. She's an awesome presenter.
Good
It was
job.
so much fun.
So you're touching on one of the themes that we see, which is how personal growth works into the growth of the business, right? I've heard the phrase said, the business growth, the growth of the business, small business, is often limited by the growth of the owner. Would you agree with that? And have you seen that in your own business?
Founder syndrome is a thing. I mean, they don't call it that for nothing. It is a thing.
Some businesses succeed despite the founder.
We see it more in nonprofits than small business. Yeah, I think we see it more in nonprofits. Just in our experience.
They don't realize that a nonprofit is a business, and the only difference between a for-profit is that they have tax ramifications. But most of them, we want to do something really good in the world, and God bless them. Sharyn has a master's in nonprofit management, but they don't understand completely sometimes that you need to make money in order to do the things that you want to do.
There's nothing in the tax code that says that a nonprofit can't make money. It's just that they can't make money to the benefit of one sole owner, right? Like a for-profit can. A nonprofit is just a tax status. You just made an agreement with the government. I'm going to provide these services so that you, government, don't have to do that. And in exchange, I'm not going to pay taxes.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you can't earn money. It just that the money has to go back towards the mission of the organization.
And
that's a brilliant description and really clear. And that a nonprofit, wow, they've got such a passion for something, right? They feel like they want to give, and it does give, but it's got to make money to grow.
When we speak
to be sustained.
When we speak to groups of nonprofits, whatever our presentation is, I always begin with a 2 or 3 minute description of, in the next couple of minutes, some of you are going to love me and some of you are going to hate me. As I go through that description of, look, you deserve and you have to make money, and there is a difference for it. And some of you, when you're marketing yourselves, it's, if you've seen the play Oliver, most of you come to a chamber with the, may I have some more, sir? You're begging for it, as opposed to coming there with a list of things that you do and saying, look, without us, these are the things that don't get done in your neighborhood. So this is why you support us. And if you can make the shift from, may I have some more, to, this is what we do, your nonprofit is going to become far more successful, far faster. So when we coach nonprofits, that's always one of the things we're looking at.
Oh, I love it. And wow, another feather in your cap, Sharyn.
The onion just keeps on.
I know. Wow.
What other little surprises do we have?
Well, I've seen on your YouTube channel, I think by the same name, Yuloff Creative. Is that right?
Yes.
That you have done quite a few webinars for SCORE. Either I saw that on your website or your YouTube channel. So is SCORE, what's your, interaction or relationship with SCORE?
We do webinars for a few chapters. SCORE is national, but then they have chapters. Mm-hmm. So because our business started in Los Angeles, our strongest alliance, for lack of a better word, there's probably a better word, but I can't come up with it. It's Thursday. I've run out of words. We're of the belief that you only get so many words in a week, and by Thursday I'm running out of words.
Yeah, there was an old joke about men and women like that too. Women had a larger supply of words for the day, and so.
I don't agree with you.
And yet it's only 10 a.m.
No, I wouldn't
agree with you.
So we do more webinars for SCORE in LA, but we've also done them for Florida and Delaware. That might be it at the moment. We've tried
one for Arizona in person.
Arizona did not, when we were there, I won't speak for how they are now, but when we were there, they did not have their act together. So
look, we like doing it there. It's part of its give back. We know what we're doing is we're helping a lot of nascent, early, still deciding if they want to have a business.
Are they even already a startup or not yet a startup?
Yeah. We help them get to the point of, okay, I'm going to make a go at this.
Or not.
Yeah.
It's fine. Get off the fence. Make a choice.
Well, we're not
Exactly.
And sometimes, it's rare with SCORE, but sometimes we'll have somebody come back and say, I'd like you as a business coach. But even then there's the discussion, where are you in the process?
And it's fine either way. I mean, we're good with startups.
Love startups, because then we don't have to fix things.
Right. Even those that are still on the fence, we're happy to have that conversation of, do they want to become a startup? And like Hank said, right, if we can start from the beginning and not have to fix things later, that's all the better.
Let's get your social media, your website, and your messaging done right at the beginning.
Well, and the first thing really is that you don't even need those things to get your first client. Many small business owners, those entrepreneurs, they're not even yet entrepreneurs. They think, I can't launch until I have social media and a website. No, or a logo. That's the other thing, right? I need a logo for. You don't need any of those things to get your first client. You don't get your first clients. Use some of those funds, put them in a savings account to build up your website, logo, marketing bank, so that then you can continue to scale as you do. But you don't need those things to start. Like, no one ever looked at a logo and said, "Oh, I'm not hiring them because I hate that logo." It's not like, seriously. If they do that, you didn't want them as a client anyway, right? They don't go to the website and go, "Well, they don't have a website, I'm not going to work with them." If they meet you in person and they want to work with, they're going to work with you whether you have a website or not.
Let that passion out, baby. Go
So
get it.
much more about message. I love it. I love it. The message that you're conveying, if it's clear, that's what people are hoping to do with a logo and a website, right? But
Right.
it's not. You've got to have it clear before you can put it there.
So,
Sure.
I have another question. What do you know now that you wish you had known when you started all this?
One of the things that we do talk to those early startup folks, those that are still on the fence, right? Do I want to leave my job or do I? Is to leverage that, right? Stay in your job until your side gig is now making more, right? And then you can let that go. So we tell them you're gonna once you launch, once you're for real, right? You're gonna work harder, you're gonna work longer. Yes, you built this business so you would have freedom, but the freedom isn't the freedom to not show up to work. Like, if you don't show up to work, you don't make an income, and then business is faltering, right? So you're gonna work harder and longer than you ever would work for somebody else. It's just more rewarding, right? You can work to build your dream, or you can work to build somebody else's dream. Whose dream do you want to build?
Yeah. For me, it was, I'm amazed at how many people decide, yeah, I can do it all myself. Because when I started this business, first I chatted with a whole bunch of people that have been in business longer than I have, some in the industry, some not, and got some tips and got coaching. And we've had business coaches ourselves and always found it useful. But folks would say, no, I can do it all myself. I think I'm pretty good at this. I took a marketing class once, and I am amazed at that. The wealth of information that is out in the world, if you ask for it, or if you're willing to pay for it, speeds up the process.
Yeah.
So, simple example: when COVID hit, we did a whole lot more like this, right? A lot more webinars and podcasts and such. Our studio was set up differently, and we got coaching as to how you come across on video. And what I love about you guys, you have the exact same kind of a background, the black, and there's no ghosting. You're there. But how we set up our studio, mics and lighting, and us together, as opposed to, we had a table between us before, so the angle was wider and taller and a bigger shot. But getting the coaching from someone who knew what they were talking about with it, which microphones to use, saved us so much time. In fact, if you go onto our YouTube channel and go scroll down far enough, you'll see some of the changes we went through, because those videos are still up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very different look, and that was purposeful.
Mm-hmm.
We feel that continuously improving is important. We moved into this studio when we moved to Maryland 2 years ago, and we're not quite there. Even as I look now, it's like, okay, I need to adjust some lighting, and there's just things. But there's so much to learn in it, and getting coaching is going to speed up the process so much.
Learning from your mistakes is a hard and long way to go.
Yeah.
Better to learn from other people's mistakes and speed up the process.
Yes, I would say you need some of both. I mean, right? We need to make the mistakes to learn from them, but at the same time,
Please don't
we can go way faster.
Yeah, I don't like to make all of them.
We can go way faster.
Yeah, don't make them twice.
I say learn from mistakes, but also learn from experience. I mean, it doesn't have to be a full mistake to look at something we just did and, okay, what worked about that, what didn't, and what do we tweak, right?
Well, marketing is all about testing, right?
Yes.
You do something, that didn't quite work the way I thought it would. I didn't quite attract the right audience. I didn't get as many conversions as I thought, all those things. So what do I need to change? Is it the image? Is it the words? Is it the headline? Is it the tagging? There's so many different variables, right? So change something.
Yes.
And then
one
test
thing.
it again.
And then run it again.
Yeah.
And don't put it at $50 a day.
No.
Whatever.
No.
Yeah.
And
you can't guess, right? I mean, it's just like songwriters. I liken it to songwriters. You know, that a lot of the artists, they write a song and they're absolutely sure it's going to be a hit and it's a total bomb. Or like Tina Turner, she hated What's Love Got to Do with It. She didn't even want to release it.
And then she was stuck singing it for the rest of her career.
Yeah.
I think she probably came to like it after the check started rolling.
Damn night. Yeah.
But
well, come on. Don't you think Keith has found a little satisfaction by now?
I think so. I hope so.
Don't you think YouTube
a little,
has found what they were looking for by now?
But it's not as going to work as I can't get as much satisfaction as I want. It's too many words.
At some point, we have to talk about that you've reached your goal.
Well, and that is coming back to the small business. So, how do you help your clients maintain that balance of they're working harder, in a small business than they were working for somebody else, and not fall into the trap of making their business more important than their life. In other words, they're serving the business instead of the business serving them.
Yeah, they all start the business to serve their life. Life will be so much easier when I have my own business because I don't have a boss. It's universal. The challenge is, and Sharyn mentioned it earlier, you will be working harder, you will be working longer with your own business, whether you have employees or not. That you do have to keep an eye out to, the reason you started your business was to serve your life. And here, an example. We had to figure out when we go on vacation that the business is still running, our clients still need us, but we have a rule. We check email twice a day, morning and then at night, and the rest of the day we put it away. But we had to learn, Hank, you've been dealing with that for like 3 hours. This is a vacation we're on. You're on a cruise ship, sweetheart. I know, babe, but nothing. She's right. So, thanks, sweetie.
And trying to do graphics on a ship. Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. So we've learned you do have to take vacations. We have a client. They just took 10 days in France, and it was their first really far away trip they had taken. So we went through our process, and because it's a promotional product business, I was able to say, okay, look, if you need some backup, I can make some calls for you because I'm over here.
You don't want them eating stuff. Yeah, all right.
This is David Arquette.
It's a family show. David.
he is part of the family.
Our fur babies are part of our families.
Yeah.
I think they're a stress magnet. I think they pull the stress out of us and they take it on themselves.
Wait till this cat comes over here and steps on our keyboard and messes up our image. Then you'll see stress.
They also cause some stress.
This cat has knocked the camera has knocked the camera loose before. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hocking up hairballs on stuff is not fun either.
No, it's not.
I don't think that's happened. I don't think that's happened yet. I don't think we've had the
On
during
camera?
on camera.
No, not on camera.
I don't think it's
But it
happened.
does happen, but not on camera.
Yeah.
Right.
You all don't want to see that anyway.
No.
Well, so that's something that your client was able to take a 10-day vacation out of the country is really something to celebrate. I mean, that's like a goal for a lot of people is, when can we take a vacation from this?
Well, and
Or
some
I'm
of it
scared to
is-
take a vacation.
Well, but the benefit is you don't have to. There's no boss to ask, right? Right.
Right. It's
that's
just got to
sort of
be
the
able to
benefit.
run without you for that period
or
of
at
time.
least less of your time,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, look, when I was working a job, I was working in financial services, office and HR management, or even in entertainment, both times. Hank and I would go away, right? Hank had his own business. I was on a job. It's a lot easier when you have a job to say, well, I'm not here. Like, I don't know, go figure it out. You've got other people here. You've got more other employees. I don't know, figure it out.
Yeah.
He couldn't do that, but it was always frustrating to me. Like, why can't you? Like, we're not at home. But once I joined them, I'm like, okay, well, I realized, right? Well, if we're not there, it doesn't get done. So then we made this rule. Okay, well, that we check email in the morning, we check in the evening, and in between it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a realization that, oh yeah, if he's not doing it, it doesn't get done, and then what? Then it's just more stressful 10 days from now with potential loss of
And you guys
clients.
have purposely designed your business that you don't have employees or VAs or everything. You do it so
Correct.
That's a choice of the life you want. So then you adjust for that, right?
Well, it's
Yeah.
the benefit of having two, right? If it were just him or just me, we may have made different choices as far as do we want a VA and do we, right? Because now you need more of a team to get things right. One person can't do it all. You can't do the bookkeeping and the selling and the marketing and the ad. I mean, there's only so many hours in the day. You can't do it and be profitable. So if it was just one of us, then we might have made a different choice. But there's two of us, so there's more division of labor.
Yeah, we can lean on each other.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Smart.
Well,
Yeah.
we're just about at the end of our time here. What's next?
Yeah.
Where's for you guys?
Let's see. I will share. Oh man, this is public.
No deadline.
No deadline. All right. So you've heard when the universe tells you something, you should pay attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
And quite often, if you're supposed to do it, the universe will tell you again and again and again. One of our books, in fact, the reason you found us was our book. It's called Partners in Everything. Your couple's guide to running a successful business without ruining your life. We have in the last couple of weeks been the universe has given us several signs that we need a second edition of this.
Cool.
I'm not going to tell you when it's going to publish because we've learned I've learned that lesson before. We're going to set up some ducks in a row first. But that is next. Also, there's another book we've wanted to publish forever called The Physics of Marketing.
That's the working title.
Yeah.
It may change.
And we couldn't write that one ourselves because I got a B in physics, and I'm pretty sure it was the biggest gift I ever got from a teacher. Thank you, Dr. Paley, wherever you are. But we have a friend that used to teach physics, so he's going to write the physics side. We write the marketing side, and that book got sidelined because of his medical challenges, and thankfully he's on the mend finally. We've wanted to put that book out for 5 years. It's been on our list of things. So those are two things that are next. And of course, we still do our boot camps twice a year. I guess the next ones are sometime in March of next year or September.
And those are virtual, or are they in person?
They're both. We usually do a virtual one and an in-person one. There are some folks in Maryland that want to be in person, and okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Why take away from them the pleasure of spending the day with Sharyn?
That's right.
That's right.
Well,
I share that
look forward
pleasure
to
with
both
them.
of those. Both of those books.
It is both of us.
Yeah.
And yes, I
This has been so much fun.
love to attend the.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Thanks
thank
for the
you.
invitation.
Is there any other words of wisdom you'd like to give a small business owner before you?
Yeah,
before
tell
we
you what,
call it?
if you need a half hour of time, we'd love to give it to you. Our scheduling link is howtogettherefaster.com, because everyone wants to know, well, how do I get it done faster? So
Right.
howtogettherefaster.com. Or if you just want one of our books, be happy to send it to you. You can all of them are on Amazon, but then just reach out to us and we'll let you know which book. Let us know which book you want. We'll just send it.
We'll email you the PDF.
Yeah,
Cool.
we love giving out info. The giving back is important, and one of the ways we created our coaching program by figuring out the things other coaches couldn't, or didn't want to do, and we wished we had it, so we put them into ours. And being of service is important. So
Yes.
remember, our motto is, if everything happens for a reason,
Be the reason things happen.
There you go.
Oh, I love that.
Fabulous.
Make sure that goes in the show notes right near the top. Thank you so much.
Yes, we appreciate it.
I know this will last for years, but we are in the holiday season, so wish you happy holidays upcoming.
Thank
you.
And
Even in June, happy holidays.
That's right.
yes, there's a
Because
holiday
it's
every
coming.
month, especially in Canada.
There's always some holiday. And
That's
by the
right.
way, everybody, happy birthday.
There you go.
Whatever your birthday
Wonderful.
is.
And happy anniversary of whatever.
Exactly.
Happy Groundhog Day.
Always something to celebrate.
That's right. All righty.
All right. Thank
This
you
is
so
fun.
much.
Thank you.